Let's move on over and talk a little bit about one name that has been all over Penguins Twitter over the past week, honestly, but today, especially with the Pittsburgh Penguins development camp coming to a close with a 4v4 prospect tournament, 3 teams. One team comes out victorious. Owen Pickering is the main name on the winning team, but the one name that has been all over Penguins Twitter, goaltender Sergei Murashov. Impressive, to say the least, based on the reports that we're getting out of Cranberry. Friend of the show, Jeff Taylor, was there. He was thoroughly impressed based on what he had to say. Taylor Haas of DK Pittsburgh Sports has been on the Murashov train really all week, doing a great job covering his first development camp with the Pittsburgh Penguins in North America. This guy, for all intents and purposes, has been an absolute stud since he was drafted by the Pittsburgh Penguins in the 4th round of the 2022 NHL draft. He has ridiculous numbers throughout his entire career in the developmental league in Russia, the MHL. And the same goes for his numbers at the KHL. Now, he's only played in 7 games in the KHL, but his save percentages are all up above 930, 932. This is a guy that on paper has been extremely impressive. And based on what Taylor Haas has had to say, based on what Jeff Taylor has had to say, he continued that impressive stretch in his first development camp with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Tom Kostopoulos was also very complimentary of the young goaltender as well following today's action. But you look at what he was able to do today, specifically on paper, 4v4 tournament, 2 shutouts to start the day. And in the 3rd game, the championship game, he gives up 1 singular goal. And that goal comes at the hands of the Penguins' top prospect overall, Brayden Yager. So in 3 games, 1 player able to beat him. And that's a player that, as Tom Kostopoulos said after practice today, could potentially vie for an NHL spot in September. I would consider that a long shot as well, based on what we have seen the Penguins organization do over the last couple of seasons. But hey, if that is the level of player that it takes to beat Sergei Murashov, that is a very, very bit of high praise and very big performance from a young goaltender. When you look at the Penguins goaltending situation right now, yes, it's questionable at the NHL level. You have Tristan Jarry, whose future is uncertain to say the least. You have Alex Nedeljkovic, who the Penguins like and they're going to keep for the next 2 years. But if you look in the pipeline, Taylor Gauthier was one of the best goaltenders in the ECHL last year. He's not a guy that projects to come in and be a starter for the future for the Penguins, but he is a guy that could potentially be a very solid backup if he continues to progress the way that he has progressed and develop the way that he has developed over the past couple of seasons. And then, of course, you have Joel Blomqvist, the apple of everybody's eye last year from the American Hockey League and the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. He was an absolute animal, ends up going to the American Hockey League All-Star game in his first professional season with the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's a guy that a lot of people are saying could potentially be ready at some point this season. I'm somebody that says that it's almost guaranteed that he makes his NHL debut in 2024-25 because he has just been that impressive. If you add Murashov to the list, who up to this point has just been this shadowy figure over in Russia who continues to be dominant in the MHL and KHL. Now we get actual eyes on him. I'm excited to talk more with Jeff Taylor. I'm excited to hopefully talk more with Taylor Haas about what he looked like this week, because all reports are saying that this guy has been an absolute animal. And I'm excited to see how it progresses from there. Yesterday, Taylor Haas put out a video of Murashov talking to local media. He said there is a little bit in question as to where he plays this year. We'll have to wait and see over the next couple of weeks where that ends up being, if that's the MHL again, if he ends up playing at the KHL for a full season. Like I mentioned, he only has 7 games under his belt at the top professional league over in Russia. Can he get a full season under his belt in the KHL? We'll have to wait and see what the future holds for him, but it might be a couple of years out, but Sergei Murashov is certainly a name to start following along with for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I wanted to bring up the actual quote from Tom Kostopoulos earlier today, a quote from Penn's Inside Scoop on Twitter. Kostopoulos said this: "Watching him compete in drills, he's relentless on the puck, which is a great asset for goalies. Then watching him in the game, it was impressive." What more can you say about Sergei Murashov? Great to see that somebody besides Brayden Yager. We knew Brayden Yager was going to be impressive. He's been impressive since he got drafted last year at the NHL draft. Good to see somebody else step out, be the headline piece of development camp, And that was obviously the goaltender, Sergei Murashov. Very excited to see where he goes this year and how he develops throughout this season.